We are so happy to be back with you today. And Kim and I today are going to chat about the topic of don't do life alone. And we have many stories to share with you of how those words have really changed our lives. And so we are anxious to share that with you today. Thank you to everybody who is tuning in live. Please comment. We love the comments. We love that you interact with the conversation, and we're excited to share with you today.
Yes, we are. Good morning, Kelly. And on this Tuesday morning, I look out my window right now. We've got some snow out there on the trees. It's not so green and kind of dull. So the brightness of the snow always makes us feel good. Good morning, Angelica, who's here with us live already. Thank you for being here. This wonderful conversation, I'm going to get right on into it. I think to where I am now, and we're all on this path of growing, of evolving, of seeing what life has in store for us. And I fully believe, I said this yesterday when I was promoting today's episode, that I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for the people who have come into my life, but also the people who are still in my life today and the ones that I have not yet met, because they're coming. I welcome you in. I'm going to start off right away. Good morning, Kim. Thanks for being here. So I'm going to start right away, and I'm going to, keep up my story tight and short here for us because it's a shorter episode, obviously. But I want to take you back for a moment to a time where I was really raw and vulnerable. I was on a leave of absence from my career. I had walked away needing to address my mental health, needing to identify like what's going on. Because when you're in a place of fragility and you're struggling, right? You can feel really alone. And I sat at my house for a while alone, of hiding from people, living with a lot of fear and shame. And a woman who both Kellyanne and I know mutually, Marcia Van Weinsberg, at that point, she had been starting her life coaching practice. And I knew Marcia. We had worked in the fitness industry before, and she was hosting a workshop. And I signed up for that workshop. And I remember going there so afraid. It was at nighttime, and I pulled into the parking lot, and I was vulnerable. I was crying in the car, and I just didn't think I could go in. When you're feeling, Kellyanne, and I know you felt this too, like where you're just feeling like if the wrong thing is said to you or the right thing is said to you, or someone just looks at you in a caring way, that you're just, and it's the most beautiful thing when it happens, but some of us have a hard time sometimes crying in public, right? So anyways, I walked into this room, and Marcia had been hosting this workshop, and there was maybe 9 or 10 women in the room. And here I'm thinking I'm going to know no one but Marcia, and of course I knew 2 other women in the room. Imagine how that happens. But I was so vulnerable, and I cried, and I opened up. But that moment in that workshop was the beginning of who I am today. It was because I allowed other people to see the pain that I was in, the struggle that I was in, the loneliness and the fear that I was in. If I wouldn't have done that, and I always think about this, if I would have pretended that all was fine and just said, you know what, I'm clearly not meant to be in this career, I need to go get myself another job, and I just pushed through and redirected my path to doing what I thought I needed to do, there's no way I would be where I am today, because I have felt so many feelings, and people have stepped into my life to make me feel what I needed to feel by their presence, by their care, by their questioning and their curiosity for me. So I'm so grateful for that first night that I chose to let people see me, and to take down my mask, and to sit with my pile of Kleenexes as I cried, to let myself be seen.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that, Kim. That's beautiful.
Mhm.
Uh, you are so right that, and I was thinking about that this morning too, that I would not be where I am today without so many people along the journey. And sometimes people come into your life just for a short season. And they are there to teach you something, to support you, whatever it is. And then maybe they're gone.
Mhm,
But all of those people, I believe that the one thing that I know is that we are much more alike than we are different. We feel often like whatever it is that we are struggling with, whatever our challenge is, that we are the only one going through that. And what I have learned is that is so not the truth. That when you start to share, and I found it in so many instances in my life, when I started to share a little bit,
mhm,
the other person who's sitting in the room, all of a sudden it gives them permission
mhm.
to share. And then there's a connection. And then you realize you're not alone. And it just is such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I think when we are going through struggles, we ask, whether that's through prayer, through intention, ask the universe, whatever way we ask for guidance. It's important to be open to how it comes to you, because often it comes to you through other people.
Mhm.
And sometimes we have a specific way that we think it's going to show up for us. And I really believe that I believe in God, that God sends people into our lives to help us along the journey, whatever that journey is for us.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing all of that. It's so true. If we think about it, and I too believe in God, like if we if we see it as his plan or her plan, depending on how you want to see it, it doesn't matter. But the intention is that we're all full of so many gifts and opportunities and ways that we're going to evolve and we have no idea. But when we believe it has to be done in a certain way, as you mentioned, we miss the opportunity. We can say, well, why am I still here? I actually read something about that one time. It was I won't speak to it exactly how it was, but the message was that I keep asking for help. Why are you not accepting my help? I keep praying, I keep asking for help. Why are you not here, God? And he's like, well, I gave you this and you turned it
Mhm.
away, and I gave you this and you turned it away, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it is because we are, as humans, we are afraid to expose ourselves because of everything that we've been taught about vulnerability, about what we're supposed to be, that we're supposed to be strong, that we're supposed to handle it, that we're supposed to push through. I mean, all of these masculine words.
Mhm.
Uh, but the intention is, I believe, and I'm pretty sure you believe this too, is that we are to be together, that we are to work as one, that we are here to reach out our hand to someone else and say, here, let me help you. Let me encourage you. And like asking for help, we're talking about it in times of pain or struggle, but we also can ask for help. I just want to shift the conversation here for a brief moment. We can also ask for help when we are wanting to do something more, when we are wanting to learn a new skill, when we're wanting to evolve in a certain way. We don't have to be in pain or in struggle. We can be in desire and we can be in passion. And to say, you know what? I mean, I've done this many times in this business so far. Like, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. Can someone please help me? Especially with the tech, right? We've joked about this. But no, I mean, there is such a beautiful thing when you can just say, I don't know what I'm doing here, or I need some help. Uh,
Mhm.
it is you feel a weight lifted off of you when you admit that you need help. And I love it and I respect people so much when they're able to do that for themselves. Because as you said, it gives somebody else permission.
Mhm.
We need to see more people asking for help. So
Mhm.
that's my first challenge for those of you that are here live with us today. Ask for some help today. Ask for some help. If you're in the grocery store and you cannot find that item, do not go home without it. Ask for help.
That's so true. And I just want to share a story of the power of people kind of coming together in that shared maybe challenge. It's a personal story of mine. that, and I know I've shared this previous, that I am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. And for until the time I was my early 40s, I never thought that I would see justice for that Catholic priest that abused me. And I knew he had abused some of my friends too. So I knew I wasn't the only one, but I never thought I would see justice. And I didn't even really long for it. I just accepted that was the fact. And then one day somebody came forward. One woman came forward and started to speak, very vulnerably share what had happened to her. And it was amazing what began to happen. I became the fifth woman to speak, to add my voice, and we ended up being 47 women strong coming. We were successful in bringing him to justice. He went to jail because 47 women did something that one woman couldn't have done by herself. And there was so much healing because we all came together. We all opened ourselves up to share a story that so many of us had never shared, that we had carried that shame for so long. And it was the beginning of healing for so many. So it just goes to show you that you don't have to do this alone. That sometimes, I mean, I never would have believed that sharing that would have created the impact that it did. So I think that when you are, and we talk a lot about being vulnerable, Kim, and hey, for a lot of years I wasn't. I have learned I believe that vulnerability is the truest form of courage when you actually are showing yourself to the world. There's nothing more courageous than that. But I think that's what we have to do to be able to access the beauty and the power of the help of other people.
I so agree. And I every time I hear your story, I just picture I can picture an image of women in circle, women in holding other women, in their energy, in their thoughts, in their feelings, in their heart space. And you're absolutely right. Like for one person to come forward with a story that holds so much pain in it, that would be a big ask. That would be a big ask for one person to do that. But to have, I think you said it was 49 of you.
47.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, um, it's amazing, and I think this is a really that's a very important reminder for us all because that person could feel, well, again, I'm talking a lot about the stories we tell ourselves. That person, that initial person that she could think I was the only one, so then she would keep it inside, but she
Mhm.
wasn't the only one. So, again, we have to remember that even if like I thought about this last night when I spoke on a stage at an event last night, even if there's one person, I believe this, one person in the room, one person who needs you to smile at them, one person who needs to say, "Hey, can I help you? Or do you need some help?" That ripple effect, if we could do that as humans, I can't even imagine the impact that would have on our world if we could take a moment to slow down our own agenda and to be there for one another, even if you don't have the answers to help them. I think I want to speak on that for just a brief moment because we don't have all the answers. We're not meant to, but never dismiss how sitting with someone and saying, "I'm really sorry that you're struggling with this, and I don't have the answers to help you right now, but let me sit with you while it's that. It's just being a friend, being a human, being a fellow sister or brother to another person who needs you. Um, we need this. Yeah.
We do. And I think people are especially after COVID and so much separation, I think people are really craving that. And I think as women, we are the role models of this.
Mhm.
I believe that men definitely need, so many men need this, others to hold space for them and to share in the challenges and often the pain. But we are the models because we are the ones who are, maybe because of our conditioning, we are more likely to be the helpers, to hold space for people, to want to support people. But I think as as other people, as we do that for other people, and I always talk about the ripple effects that we have in the world, as we do that for other people, um, the people around us see that example. And I met with a woman, and she's a coach. And the one thing she said to me that has really stuck with me, that I stole it from her. I don't want to say I stole it. I shouldn't say I stole it, but because I think it's a beautiful thing to use, and I have never used it. Is she said to me, "How can I support you in what you're doing?" And I've really tried to take that and use that in conversations with many, many people, that regardless of what it is, and maybe to say to them, how can I support you in this? And maybe they might say, you can't, just listening is enough.
Mhm.
And that is an important, to be able to hold space for somebody is a very important role. Um, but I think, I know for me, I spent a lot of time being pretty consumed with my own issues,
Mhm.
my own challenges, my own struggles. And I really didn't take a lot of time to be there for other people.
Mhm.
I'm so glad that there were people who did that for me, because now I feel that I'm able to do that for other people.
And you've forgiven yourself for
I've
that, right?
forgiven myself. I've given myself compassion, because when you know better, you do better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, such a beautiful conversation. I'm going to throw you a question. Okay. Um, when can you, do you think it's always important to ask for help? Is there a time where not asking for help will be helpful?
For sure.
Mhm.
That's a great question, because I think often we search for answers outside of ourselves. Sometimes we do it far too often. And you may come across people, you might have people in your life who are constantly asking for help to make a decision, to what should I do? And really, when you become the leader of your own life, there are many answers, things that you can do alone. There are many, it's that trust in yourself, being
Mhm.
able to trust yourself, that so many of the answers I have, I just have to be quiet and look inside and learn to trust myself. But then there are things that we come across that we just
Yeah.
we don't have the answers for, or we just need that support. I mean, I think about, I was having a rough day and I reached out to you, and you listening to me for whatever it was, half an hour, and being able to vent and cry, and it just released so much for me. And sometimes you get tired and you just need somebody else to help.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you might not even know like what you need help with, right?
No,
Like
exactly.
sometimes it's like, I don't know why I feel this way, but tell me it's normal, right?
Right.
Yeah, I just want to really speak to that because I have so much history with going outside of me to tell me what to do.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, this piece of self-trust has been especially as an entrepreneur now, it's like,
Mhm.
well, what do you want to do? Don't ask me that question. Just tell me what to do. But the way we learn to trust ourselves is by taking chances, by doing what feels right for us, and knowing that no matter what, we're going to be okay. This is it, because especially I'm speaking to the people right now who are the people that always like, tell me what to do. Can you do this for me? Do you think that this is okay? Would you change anything? Be willing to put out your first draft. Take that language how you may, but be
Mhm.
willing to just put on an outfit. I'll speak women language here for a minute. Put on an outfit, look at yourself in the mirror. Do you feel good in it? Yes. Do you love how the color and how the clothing sits on your skin? Yes. Then wear the outfit. Don't ask people, do I look fat in this outfit? Does this make me look bad? Whatever. This is how we cultivate this self-love within ourselves, is also by trusting ourselves. We've shifted the conversation, I did, to asking yourself for help. But yes, we can ask ourselves for help. We can ask other people for help as well. And yeah, it's just so important. I just want to acknowledge everybody who's been writing the comments into the chat here about difficult experiences that people are feeling right now, and that people are coming into their life asking for help. And I think that's the other thing, is we have those core people, or that core person, and they come in and they help you. And that's also because you chose to be vulnerable in the first place. You chose to say that I need some help. So I love that people have that for themselves, and that vulnerability is the truest form of courage. So embrace that vulnerability and strengthen that muscle of courage. It's so important.
And I think, when we talk about looking for approval outside of ourselves, or looking for answers outside of ourselves, I think we, and I say this all the time, you will always find what you are looking for,
Mhm.
and you have to search for the evidence that you want to find. So, as when things come up that maybe you need to start looking inside and asking yourself for the help that you need, making a decision to follow your own intuition and to follow your own advice, or to take your own opinion, and then watching how that unfolds. If it unfolds well, then celebrate yourself. That is evidence that you can trust yourself. Again, I'm getting off topic, but
It's what we do, right?
this is
Perfect.
raw and unscripted. We just take it where it goes. So, and we trust that whatever we talk about, whatever we say, is what's meant to be said at that
Absolutely.
time, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I would love to hear from people in the chat. And I'm having some, I know we're live and everything's going well, but I am having some tech issues here with this platform right now. So I can only see your comments if I look in Facebook. But what are the things that we struggle with? When you have a fear of asking for help, I'm just curious what's coming up for everyone that's tuning in right now. What are the feelings that we have? I just want to normalize that for us all, because it's a part of our journey for sure.
And Deanna just said, it can be so hard to actually ask for help, so much easier to help others. And
Mhm.
our role as women, as mothers, as caregivers, as helpers in our career, that is so easy for us to do. And we often, because that's our natural state, it's so true that we often don't ask for the help, because we see ourselves as the one who gives the help,
Mhm.
not the one who needs the help. And many of us, and I know in my life, I grew up thinking that if you had to ask for help, especially outside your family,
Mhm.
like counseling, all those kind of things,
Yeah.
no. Like, you don't go outside, you don't tell people what's happening in your house, you figure it out on your own.
Mhm.
And so many of us have that conditioning and those beliefs that we are weak if we ask for help. We are weak if we can't figure it out on our own. And I think definitely the culture has shifted, and people know that there is much more help available to people. Um, and we are we are forming more groups and more places where we can gather to actually ask for that help. Last night, I was at a beautiful goddess gathering.
Ooh, that sounds amazing.
Oh, yeah. And but it was, it was just it was my first time being at this one of these, but it's, and I used to facilitate women's circles. And I think when you can come together and be vulnerable and be open to sharing the things that that you're struggling with, it really does allow other people to voice their and to share their, what they're struggling with too.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's the and anybody who's taken part in something like this, you walk away. To me, the word is love. There is such love for people who are willing to share their personal pain, their personal struggles with other people that they don't even know. And actually that I've asked this question before to people that I've coached and women that I've coached in my circles too. Do we find it easier to ask for help from strangers or to people that we know? And a lot of the time people find it easier to expose themselves, to unveil themselves to people that they don't know, because there is this feeling of less judgment when you can feel that distance, right? You're not, it's not your, if you share something with your cousin and now their cousin tells her mother and then her mother tells your mother, right? Like that's the concern that I think that people have when you're telling people that are in your close family. But outside of that, we feel there's just more safety. So that's the other thing I'm going to encourage us all is to look for spaces and places where you can start to be in the arms of people who care about you, who people who want to share energy with you. Whether you have an opportunity to find a free space, a public space that is open, or you invest into a space, I believe there is a lot of value. And remember, everything that Kellyanne and I talk about is all about being able to not only move yourself forward in your life, but also to enjoy the present life that you're in. And this piece of feeling like we don't deserve the help is also a barrier for people to step forward. But we're here to tell you, as two women who have continued to ask for help, to be vulnerable, to invest in ourselves, to walk into rooms with people that we don't know, and to raise our hand and to use our voice, even though that lump is in our throat, right? We're asking you to be brave with us, alongside of us, and to come on this journey with us.
I love that, Kim. Yeah, and everything that we share with you are lessons that we have learned over the course of what we have both walked through. Very different journeys. But, I think we both, just to remind everybody at the beginning of this episode, we both talked about how we would not be the women we are if not for the people who walked alongside us at some point in our journey. Because I don't know about you, Kim, but there are very there are times in my journey where I had to walk alone. And I think that's part of the healing journey. But most of the times, there were people there to support me because I asked for support. Sometimes it was because they just knew that I was struggling. But yeah, Joanne just said sharing is the key, and you're right. It's just opening yourself up. Um, and often you can share one little tidbit about something. Somebody hears that. They might be struggling with the same thing. Looks like we lost Kim. And you will instantly have that connection. Obviously, Kim's tech issues did not go away. So I am going to end for today. And I just want to thank you for all of the comments. I, this is a safe place for you to share. And I so appreciate, Kim and I so appreciate all of the comments and all of the sharing because that's what we want. We want to create a safe space. And Kim and I try and do that in the work. We do that in the work that we both do for the clients that we work with because a safe place, a safe space is where the most healing and the most growth can happen. So, thank you again for being here with us today, and we will be back next Tuesday. Please follow us on or to tune into this episode again if you want to listen again. We are on YouTube, and those videos, we kind of have some on one page and some on another. They are under the live tab, so look for them there. And if you feel that there's somebody in your life who you think could benefit from our conversations, please share. Maybe you have somebody today who know maybe needs some help and you want to encourage them to ask. Maybe this is the perfect opportunity, this episode, to share with them. So thank you again for being with us, and we will see you next week.